Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back to another weekly forecast. If you're seeing this, we made it through another week. Thank God. I'm filming this at the end of a weird, tiring, long, hectic week. And so I hope you guys are in a better place than I am, but if you're not alone. I am in the boat with you and we will get through it together. If this is like, I'm filming this at night. I usually film first thing in the morning, so this is a different vibe for me. Hopefully the table looks okay. Hopefully the lighting looks okay because if you've watched my older videos, you've seen that I've used the gold tablecloth a couple times. I don't think I have any other tablecloths, and I couldn't bear to put it on the table to use the ring light. I don't know, I'm just having a moment here, so I literally lost my train of thought. But anyways, I wanted to just have the wood. I really like the look of the wood. Maybe I should just buy some new tablecloths because like the ring light does really help with the lighting, but I can't use it on the table because it just reflects in the wood. Anyways, you guys don't care about that. I'm just yapping. So this is a weekly forecast. This is the third that I've done, and as I said before, I've had kind of an insane week. So if this is the only video that you're seeing from me this week, I really apologize. I think life just got the better of me, but I will try my best to be back with the 2 videos next week. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this weekly forecast. Keep in mind with these that if you're looking into the future, you might see things that will be uncomfortable to hear in a reading where you're looking forward. But don't let that scare you off because it's good to know how to handle things. It's good to understand what's impacting your life. And it's just good to have an idea of all the energies at play. So even if you do get uncomfortable, don't let that scare you. But of course, only take on what you can handle. And if you feel like, this is just not the time for you, then it's not the time for you. And you can join me in another video. Otherwise, we've got all of our oracle cards. I'm using the Multidimensional Devas for the oracle deck today. Each card, I think, is its own, oil painting by Scylla Conway. So I think the cards are very beautiful. And then for the actual reading, I'm using the Zodiac Tarot. You've definitely seen both of these decks if you have been around on the channel for a little bit. If you haven't, welcome. I hope you really enjoy the reading. Let me explain what the crystals are and what the oracle cards are. So the first crystal is lapis lazuli, and the oracle card we have number 48. I think the only thing with these cards is that they don't have the information on the cards, so you kind of have to, unless you have it memorized, you have to go into the guidebook. So card number 48 is through the veil. So this is moments of mystery, ambiguities, paradoxes. Moments like that clear the way and you get to see and understand fully. And the veil parts to allow you to enter into a place beyond words. Everything disappears. Things become more real. This card is definitely about transformation, death, rebirth, union, and dissolution. That was a longer explanation than I planned on giving, but hopefully, the image it really goes with the lapis lazuli here, the colors and stuff like that. So if that card is resonating for you, the image or the messaging, again, that card is through the veil, then that might be your reading for next week. Number 2, we have Carnelian, and the card with that is number 24, which is, let me see here, perception. Very interesting. So this could be about your perception of your reality, whether you're closing your mind to certain ideas or certain opinions, or whether you're opening up to them. All about how, I don't know, this is kind of a side note. This is not really about the card, but the way that we perceive the world is our reality because we have no other way of understanding that the world that we live in, if that makes sense. So you can kind of see there's kind of an eye image here, again, having to do with your senses and how you're perceiving things around you. If that is sounding like something going on in your life right now, then that might be your reading. Next, we have Clear Quartz, and that card is 44. Definitely looks like the globe, and because this card is about global healing. So I don't really think there's much more to say than just it being about global healing, wanting to heal as many people as possible, have the greatest positive impact on the world, things like that. I don't know, maybe that's a theme in your life. I don't know, like the book in particular, she was inspired to make this card by the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you're in healthcare or things like that, you know, work has been a theme in your life, that might be a reading. Last, we have Green Opal, and this card is number 20, Journeying. I think this card has made an appearance on the channel before, but this card is all about your path in life, where you are in your path in life. You know, what are you thinking about your path in life? What kind of journeys are relevant or irrelevant to you? That kind of thing. Anyways, lots of very deep options for the reading this week. Hopefully one is calling to you. I'm doing a Celtic Cross, by the way. So we're going to take a very deep dive into all of the energies for next week. We're going to take a look at your conscious energy, a challenge, conscious and unconscious thoughts, something from your past that's impacting the energy of like earlier on in the week, so that near future position, how you're influencing events next week, how the external things are influencing things for you next week, a hope or fear that you might have next week, and then the outcome card, which I kind of take to mean like the energy of later on in the week. Anyways, I think that's all the information that I need to give you about the reading. Remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. If I give a few interpretations of the card, it's just, this is kind of like a collective reading. So you just have to take the one that sounds like it applies to your life and kind of ignore the other ones. Otherwise, I hope a reading is calling out to you, and I will see you there. Hey guys, welcome to reading number 1. You can see the lapis lazuli on the left, and the oracle card was 48, Through the Veil. I didn't mention this in the introduction because I don't think it actually quite registered, but this card is the last card in this oracle deck. So maybe there's some themes here for you about like completing something, having a heightened understanding, some enlightenment. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm doing the live shuffling method. Sorry, you can see that a card already came out. The energy for you this week, next week, I guess, is going to be the Two of Swords. Very interesting. You can see the Two of Swords there. I don't know, to me, it's about, sometimes it can be about having to decide or make a decision about something, but it's the moment before you actually have to take action on it. So it's about doing like an inner searching within yourself, understanding how exactly it is that you want to perceive that thinking that happens before acting. And hopefully with this like Libra energy that we have here in this card, the decision that you're making, you know, will hopefully bring about balance, inner harmony, restoring balance, and things like that. So perhaps you might face some kind of a decision next week, but you won't actually have to act on it. Next week, the energy will definitely be more about thinking about what to do. Let's take a look at the challenge for you next week. Do a little shuffle here. Ooh. Okay. 8 of Swords. Wow, I was having a really hard time seeing that number. 8 of Swords. Okay, so this makes sense, especially if you're facing a decision and this is like the moment before you really have to take action on it. So the thinking that we described here could reach a point of overthinking, to the point where you kind of paralyze yourself and you feel like you're not actually going to be able to take action on the thing that you decided because you just feel really paralyzed by the overthinking. So, you know, the 8 of Swords is also about feeling, you know, trapped. But you're not really trapped. You know, you're kind of in a trap of your own making. And so thinking too much, talking too much, communicating too much might be an obstacle for you here. And not really, like, you can see even the imagery is very similar. Like, both the cards have their eyes closed. It's like doing a lot of, like, this is definitely, I get the energy of, like, you might talk yourself into a little bit of a situation here. Maybe, like, be careful about what you're saying while you're deciding what to do. If you are facing a decision, just be careful what you're saying next week. You know what? I'm going to take this. So we have conscious thoughts and we have unconscious thoughts. So consciously thinking about the 5 of Pentacles, I think that that makes a lot of sense if you're making a decision and you're thinking about it so deeply to the point where you kind of paralyze yourself, because you might be thinking about, you know, loss. And definitely this is not like emotional loss. Like, this is about, like, you know, ending up in a difficult situation, like financially, and having to, like, you know, it's like having to, it's like, okay, backtracking. Loss could be financial, but it's more in general, just on that, like, material level. And you might be so worried about experiencing loss or experiencing hardship, and then you're like, oh God, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to ask for help? What if this all goes wrong? But, you know, unconsciously, you know, kind of more so in the back of your mind here, you have the 6 of Wands, which is very interesting. The 6 of Wands to me is definitely a card of, like, success. So I think deep down you want to experience victory. You want things to go well. There is some optimism kind of deep down, but you might just be getting in your own way about it. I think, like, deep down, maybe you kind of acknowledge that, like, things are going to be okay, especially if you live by the mantra of, like, you know, let go and whatever needs to happen will happen. I think there is, like, at the base level, there is that understanding that, like, things are going to be okay. But, you know, maybe it's time to acknowledge this a little bit more. Think more about the victory that could await you. Maybe if you're thinking about taking a risk with this decision here, maybe focus a little bit more on, like, the good things that could come out of that decision or come out of that risk, and bring that a little bit more into the forefront, because I could see you getting really bogged down by this, like, 5 of Pentacles, if that's mainly what's on your mind here. Let's take a look at something from your past that's impacting you this week. Whoop, that's too many cards. Okay, turn that upright. I don't use reversals in this deck, funnily enough. Okay, 7 of Pentacles from your past. I think there might have been a moment, you know, like, from your past, you know, I guess this could still be playing out, but you do have some experience with, like, putting in a lot of hard work into something and having to be patient for it, and understanding that, like, if you put in the work and if you are patient, then good things will come of it. So either this hard work that you've put in is a continuation, like, you're still working on this project that you started in the past. Alternatively, maybe reflect on a project that you started in the past or experience that you had where you put in a lot of work and it did pay off and things did go well, because that might help keep you kind of optimistic about things here. Let's take a look at the near future. So this is like, you know, this is like the energy of, like, earlier on next week. Let's take a look. The Fool. Okay. Earlier in the week, I think you might be asked, like, you might be not asked, but maybe asked. I don't know why I said that. You know, that kind of just slipped out of my mouth. So maybe you will be asked. But I think you're going to be put into a position of, like, all right, this is, like, a new phase. This is a new journey. Are you just going to go for it? You know, like, if you are making some kind of a decision, maybe earlier in the week, you might be tempted to just be like, let's go for it. Let's just step into the void and see what happens. But you might also be feeling a little bit more playful about it, a little bit more optimistic about things, because the Fool is kind of like an energy of, like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. I don't care what happens. I'm just going to like enjoy myself and do it. So that'll be the energy of earlier in the week. You might even like have, a new opportunity presented to you, or you might be asked to start something new next week. If something does happen like that, please let me know. I love to hear how this all plays out for you. Let's take a look at your internal influences. That's too many cards. Put this back. So this is how you're influencing things, the devil. You need to be careful of self-sabotage, especially if you're the type to overthink and get caught up in your own thoughts and hold yourself back and trap yourself with these like thoughts of like, what if everything goes wrong? What if I lose everything? That's going to sabotage you. And like the 8 of Swords has a very similar energy to the devil. You can see that there's chains in both. And fun fact, the chains are not actually binding in either card. So it's like you are the only one holding yourself back here. And if you understand that, you can free yourself. So be wary next week of sabotaging yourself and, holding yourself back. Let's take a look at external influences. So this can be you, the environment, another person that might influence things next week. High Priestess. I think that this is probably another person in your life, maybe somebody who's more spiritual. It could even be your own higher self might be playing a role in things next week. I think, with the High Priestess, I think that's like, be open to receiving messages, be receptive next week, especially if you are the type of person that believes in a higher self or a higher power. Those forces might be at play next week. So be ready to receive, be ready to listen, and be on the lookout for kind of like synchronicity, kind of like magic kind of situations next week, because those forces apparently are at play for you here with this situation. Pay attention to your dreams too. Let's take a look at a hope or a fear. 4 of Cups. Okay. Interesting. 4 of Cups. I wonder if this could be... this is giving kind of like fear energy, I guess. I don't know. I guess with the 4 of Cups, it could be like there's a fear of apathy here. You're worried that you're going to lose interest in what's going on. Like especially if you've been working on this for a long time, you might be afraid that like, oh gosh, what if I get bored before this pays off and I just don't follow through? Like, what if I start thinking about something else? Perhaps you're hoping for some, a moment of like inner reflection, being able to reflect on the past, but be careful of like, and I think you might be afraid of this, kind of like losing track of what's going on in the present. Maybe you're a daydreamer. Maybe you kind of get lost in fantasy, and if that is the case, it sounds like you're aware of that. And maybe you're also hoping for somebody, an outside like person, force, something like that, to come in and hand you something, help you with something. Because you can see in the image, there's this like otherworldly force just handing another cup to this person. So perhaps you could be thinking and hoping for outside aid. The outcome of next week, kind of like the energy of later in the week, the overarching energy, the Emperor. I think you are, especially if you're like in this moment of pause and having to make a decision, you are going to have to migrate into Emperor energy later in the week. You're going to have to be ready to take action, take charge of your own life, set boundaries for yourself. Like the Emperor is the person who gets stuff done. So later in the week, you might have to just get stuff done and kind of shift into this Emperor energy, especially if you do decide to take on, this new thing with the Fool. You might just have to like be like, okay, I'm the one in charge, I'm the one doing things here, let's get it done. Alternatively, I guess this could be an external figure kind of stepping in later in the week who's maybe telling you what to do or seems to be in charge of things, very confident in themselves. I'm not sure. Could be either one of those. I'm excited to see how this plays out for you. As always, like if you are living life next week and you're like, oh my gosh, I heard something like this in the tarot reading, please come back here and leave a comment. I would love to know. Otherwise, I hope the reading resonated, and I hope you have a good week next week. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a new channel and that really helps me out. Otherwise, thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope I see you again in a future video. Hey everybody, welcome to reading number 2. The crystal was carnelian and the oracle card was perception. I'm interested to see how this plays out in the reading. If you notice connections that I don't point out, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And I don't remember what else I was going to say. Always take what resonates, leave the rest. If I offer a few interpretations, you just take the one that sounds like it applies to you. Otherwise, let's take a look at your week next week. Your energy is the 8 of Swords. Overthinking to the point where you're paralyzing yourself. Like, what is going on in your life that has got you thinking like this? It's important to note that with the 8 of Swords that there's this like element of being in a trap of your own making. Like, you are holding yourself back. You're, keeping yourself imprisoned here with this overthinking and with these thoughts. Let's take a look at the challenge for you next week. Ooh, okay, the Devil. The challenge, I can't get these cards straight. The challenge for you next week is definitely about self-sabotage, falling into old behavior patterns that are not serving you. And very similar energy to that 8 of Swords, like being in a trap of your own making. Like, you are really the one holding yourself back here next week. I don't know, I hope we get some additional information here about what's going on in these other cards. In the conscious mind, we have the 10 of Cups. Definitely thinking about like wish fulfillment, wanting things to go well, wanting happy times with the people that you love, like really, really focused on that. Let's get some additional context, because if that's what's going to be on your mind a lot next week, I'm not sure why we're getting stuck in overthinking and maybe getting stuck in old behavior patterns. Let's take a look at the unconscious mind. Something that's kind of operating in the back of your mind. These cards are all very similar to the first reading, by the way. I don't know if the first reading was also kind of sounding interesting to you. Maybe listen to that as well, because these cards are all popping up in the first reading as well. But I think you might be kind of suppressing with this High Priestess. You might have gut feelings about things. You might be an intuitive person, but you're not really acknowledging your intuition. You're not really acknowledging your gut feelings. You're kind of like putting that side of you on the back burner, and it's popping up here for a reason. It might not be helping you that you're not listening to your gut. You might actually have to start listening to your gut, and it might help you with this overthinking kind of like, old patterns of behavior situation. In the past, so something from your past that's impacting what's going on this week, the Page of Wands. So this could be, a past version of yourself, or this could be another person from your past. I'll tell you, I think like the Page of Wands is an air sign or a fire sign. And you can see in the cards that it's a little bit more of a masculine energy. So if any of that resonates with you, it could be you. But if it doesn't, it might be another person. The Page of Wands, very inspiring, very curious, always ready for a new adventure, like is not afraid of saying yes to the unknown, has a lot of enthusiasm, could represent a new project, a new journey, something maybe unexpected that happened that you embraced. And all of those things, you're going to have to pick which one resonates there. So it could be a person that's very youthful, inspiring, loves an adventure, could be a part of yourself, or this could be like a new project, new journey that you started on. Maybe you traveled, and maybe that's, impacting things this week. Let's take a look at the near future. So that's energy of earlier in the week. 4 of Pentacles. 4 of Pentacles to me like, so in this deck, it's not quite as harsh as it is in some other decks. In this deck, it's more about being resourceful, finding stability, craving stability, wanting to create stability for yourself in terms of your resources and like your material life. To an extreme, it can sometimes mean like being hoarding and overly protective, but in this deck, it's a much more softer energy of like, I want to protect what's mine. I want to protect my peace. I do not want to give away resources that, you know, to people who are not appreciative or undeserving, and I don't want to deplete my resources for the sake of other people. So that might be your energy kind of earlier on in the week. Let's take a look at your internal influence. So the things about you or what you're doing that are impacting your experience next week. Okay, so we have the Ace of Swords. Very interesting. So the Ace of Swords is like about gaining new perspective on something, seeing the truth about something, feeling very lucid about something. So you might get a new idea or have a new thought, or you might even just gain new perspective on a situation, and having that new idea, new thought, or that new perspective is kind of influencing how things are going to play out for you next week. Definitely thinking like swords is about rational thinking. So, you know, definitely some rational thought going on for you, which is never a bad thing. Let's take a look at external influences. So these are things outside of yourself that are influencing how, you know, you might experience next week, or next week might play out for you. No, that didn't really fully fall out. I'm not going to accept that. So let's keep shuffling, see what comes out. Oh, 2 cards. I just want one, please. Just sitting here talking to myself. Well, I'm talking to you guys. I'm talking to you guys, and I'm talking to the cards. Okay. The Emperor. Perhaps an Aries in your life. But the Emperor is definitely an energy of somebody who might be, this is like a father figure, somebody who's in charge of you, someone higher up in the hierarchy, or just in general that you have a lot of respect for. This person takes action. This person gets things done. This person protects their boundaries. This is very similar energy to this card. So perhaps maybe you'll have like a conversation with this person or an interaction with them, and maybe that's how you'll step into this energy. For some reason, I do think that these things are tied. So these both have energies of like boundaries, protecting your peace, and being the one in charge of, you know, what you give away. Let's take a look at a hope or a fear that you might have next week. Very interesting to see, you know, I'm just, again, thinking about our card over here about perception. Hope or a fear, Knight of Cups. Interesting. Again, this could be referring to somebody outside of yourself, like another person, or this could be you. The Knight of Cups is very good with love and very good with emotions. However, the Knight of Cups is also unstable. You can see that the 2 elements involved in this card are water and fire, and they kind of cancel each other out, which leads to that instability. So you could be afraid of instability. You could be wanting, you know, to experience a passionate love. You could be wanting to hoping, I guess, to get in touch with your artistic side and more creative endeavors. But the Knight of Cups is also very gentle and warm, so you could be desiring or hoping for that from a person, maybe water sign, fire sign, or you could be afraid of the instability that this person might bring. And that could also all be about you. Let's take a look at the outcome, or like the energy of later in the week, or more so like the overarching energy. King of Wands, another court card. Lots of characters involved here. So again, this could be, I'm getting the sense that this is more so about you stepping into kind of like this King of Wands energy. Very similar to all of these things. That's why I kind of think that it's about you. The King of Wands is a good leader, very good at reaching goals, you know, is courageous, charismatic, likes to get things done and make things happen, and, you know, inspires the people around them, has like a very radiant energy. So I think that that is, you know, kind of like the overarching energy for you, or maybe what you'll be stepping in later in the week, especially if you do overcome, you know, this self-sabotage or this overthinking that you might be doing. Okay, I wish you the best. I do think that perhaps this perception card is related to this Ace of Swords. Maybe your perception's changed on something. Let me know in the comments what's going on. I'm curious to hear. I hope the reading resonated, and I hope you have a good week next week, especially, you know, if you're thinking a lot about, you know, getting love and commitment and good things happening. I wish those for you. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a new channel, and that really helps me out. Otherwise, thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope I'll see you again in a future video. Hey guys, welcome to reading number 3. You can see on the left the clear quartz, and the oracle card was global healing. I'm very interested to see how this kind of plays out. And if you notice that this card is kind of relating to themes in the reading, then let me know. Okay, I'm already like, what is going on? Because the 3, I've filmed the first, like this reading and the 2 before it so far. The cards are all this, like the similar cards are in each reading. So I don't know what's going on, but it's very interesting. Your energy next week is definitely, 4 of Pentacles is definitely like a protect my peace kind of energy, but definitely like not so much emotional peace. I mean, it can be emotional peace, but this is definitely like, I want to protect what's mine. I want to protect my resources. I'm craving stability. I need to have boundaries. And so that is going to be your energy next week. Trying to find inner peace, protecting yourself, not depleting your resources for the sake of other people. Let's take a look at what the challenge might be for you. Whoop, that went flying. Ace of Wands. Interesting. So I think that the challenge, my voice kind of wavered there a bit. Did you hear that? I don't know why that made me laugh. Maybe because I'm so tired. The challenge is going to be embarking on some kind of a new beginning, accepting a new opportunity. You might be starting on a new project, but you might be having a really hard time saying yes to it. I don't know why that is, but like saying yes to starting this new thing might be challenging. On your conscious mind, so what you're thinking about a lot next week, the Sun. I think you're thinking a lot about, you know, you're trying to be positive, you're trying to be optimistic. Perhaps you want to grow. You're thinking a lot about growth. You're thinking a lot about truth, seeing things for how they truly are. What is my truth? What is the truth? But overall, you know, I definitely think these are positive thoughts. The Sun is a positive card, but it's also a card about growth and transformation. So thinking a lot about that too. Let's take a look at your unconscious mind. This is something that's like on the back of your mind, maybe something you're not acknowledging enough, maybe something you might be trying to push back of your mind. Whoa, that flipped. I'll take that one. Strength. Your courage, I think it really relates to that thing of like just saying yes to things. You're really not acknowledging how strong you are. You're not acknowledging how brave you are, how courageous you are. You're definitely pushing those things to the back of your mind, and you're not really focusing on it. I think you're more focusing on like, I want things to go really well. I don't want things to go badly, but like you maybe should also be thinking about, but I'm also really strong and I can do hard things. And doing hard things also doesn't have to mean that you have to be like vicious and aggressive. There is a form of gentle strength, which I really appreciate that this deck brings out. You know, sometimes showing compassion in a moment of challenge shows more strength than being aggressive, if you catch my drift. Anyways, let's take a look at the past, something from your past that's impacting, that flew out in my hand. So you might have made a decision in the past that now is kind of like playing itself out. The Two of Wands is the type of decision as well of like Am I going to do what's best for me, or am I going to do what's best for the people around me? Very similar themes to this Four of Pentacles about not depleting your resources for the people around you, protecting yourself, and, you know, having that stability. So I don't know what the outcome was of this decision, but whatever decision you made is going to be impacting things next week. Let's take a look at the near future. So this is kind of like the energy of earlier on in the week. Ace of Swords. Okay, so definitely related to the Sun card, because you are going to gain a new perspective on something, learn the truth about something, have a new way of thinking, and like maybe thinking a little bit more rational. And perhaps that's why, you know, you kind of have this Sun energy, because the Sun can also be about exposing the truth. So you're going to have a new way of thinking about things next week, especially earlier in the week. And perhaps learning the truth about that might kind of trigger these things that are happening here in this column of the self. I don't know if that's what it's really called, but I like to call it, because all those cards are about you. This is your internal influence, so it's like what you're doing, how it's impacting your experiences next week. I think with the Six of Wands, the optimism, I think, is helping you out. That mindset of like, I'm capable, I can do things, I'm capable of success. That is having a positive influence on things, because the Six of Wands is like about victory and about things going well. So I think, you know, your mindset, your attitude, you're like, you have pride in your accomplishments. I think those things are really affecting things. But since the Six of Wands is so positive, you know, I think it's affecting things in a positive way. But be careful not to rest too much on your laurels. That is a warning that comes in with this card. Enjoy the victory, enjoy your success, you know, but don't rely entirely on your confidence here. Let's take a look at the external influences. These are things outside of yourself that might be affecting things next week. Nine of Cups. Okay, so you might be kind of put into, I think this might be more the energy of your environment, a situation that you might find yourself in. You're going to be asked to be patient and like delayed gratification type of thing, but at the same time understand that like you are going to get what you want. This is a card of fulfilled desires. So you're just going to be put into a situation where you just kind of like happily wait for things to come to you and to play out the way that, you know, you want. You just kind of have to wait. Let's take a look. There were two cards in there, so I'm putting that back. Let's take a look at a hope or a fear that you have. Seven of Wands. Okay, I think you're afraid that you're going to be put into a situation where you have to defend yourself. Perhaps that's why, you know, you're in that Four of Pentacles energy where you're thinking a lot about your resources and protecting your resources, because there is a fear there. I think about needing to defend yourself and having to be courageous. You know, I don't know if you're hoping for that. Like, I don't know, maybe you are. Maybe you are hoping for a situation in which you have to be brave. But usually if you're in a situation where you have to be brave, that means that like something not so fun is happening. So that could be a fear as well. Understand what your personal values are for sure. And, you know, you're not going to go wrong if you're following your personal values. Let's take a look at the outcome. There's a few cards in there. Oh, but I didn't pick that one up. Okay, this is the overarching energy for next week, the outcome card. It could be the energy of later in the week. It could be the most dominant energy. We have the Seven of Swords here. Okay, another seven, kind of like that Seven of Wands. But the Seven of Swords is about like kind of acting in secret, having to engage in some cunning behavior or some using your intelligence. I think that you are going to need to use your communication skills, and you're going to have to think a little creatively. Do something, think outside of the box. Don't be afraid to act outside of the box. Communicate when it's necessary, but don't necessarily tell everybody what you're doing and what you're thinking. You're going to have to act carefully and, you know, do things at the right moment. All right. I hope the reading resonated and I hope you enjoyed it. I wish you the best for next week. I have no idea how this relates to global healing, so let me know in the comments and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a new channel and that really helps me out. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope I'll see you again in a future video. Hey everybody, welcome to reading number 4. You can see on the left the green opal and the card was journeying. I sometimes forget to point out connections between the oracle card and the reading. If you notice things, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. We're going to take a look at your energy for next week. Remember to take what resonates and leave the rest. So if I offer a few interpretations, just take the one that's sounding right, sounding like it's applying to your life, and kind of like ignore the other ones. We're going to start with your energy next week. So let's see what we get. One will fall out. Whoa. I'll take that. Okay. 9 of Cups. This is a good energy to be in. You're kind of like waiting patiently. I think you're confident that something is going to work out, that you're going to get what you want. 9 of Cups is all about fulfilled desires in this deck, and it's just about waiting for it to come to you. So next week might not be a lot of action. It might just be like, I know good things are coming for me and I just have to wait for it. So that might be your energy for next week. Let's take a look at the challenge for you. Ooh, Knight of Swords. Okay. So this could be a part of yourself that might get in the way for you next week. This could also be another person. So this could be a fire sign or an air sign with the Knight of Swords here. If you are one of those signs, that could also just speak to the fact that it's you, but it could be an outside person, more of a masculine energy. This person can be explosive. So with the combination of air and fire, that can be kind of explosive. It can mean that they're very warm and very welcoming, but it could also mean that things can get out of hand pretty quickly. So there could be a situation that involves a lot of passion, involves a lot of emotion, involves a lot of anger, but the question could be whether this is constructive or destructive. So it'll be important to understand whether your actions are aligning yourself with your goals, or if this person's actions align themselves with your goals. Keep that in mind as you face this challenge next week. Let's take a look at your conscious thoughts. So this is something that you'll be actively kind of thinking about next week. It might not be actually playing out, but it could be on your mind. 10 of Swords. Okay. You might not be feeling your best next week. That's a very weird combination with the 9 of Cups. I just had a complete brain loss. I think there is a difference though, right? Because this is what you're thinking and this is more just your spiritual vibes. So I think you will be thinking that you're at the end of something. You're thinking about the end of something, whether it's ended already or you're thinking about ending it. End of the cycle, the conclusion of something. It might not feel very good. It might feel like rock bottom. But part of this card is understanding that there's a new cycle starting after this. There's a new dawn coming. So perhaps you know that. Perhaps that's a part of your thinking next week. But if it's not, remind yourself. Unconscious mind, this is something that might be happening on the back of your mind, or something that you're maybe not acknowledging, could be suppressing, repressing, and we have the Death card here. So whatever cycle is ending, you might be kind of stuck in the end of it, because death is about the need to fully let go and transform. So whatever is ending for you that you're thinking about, I think you might also need to acknowledge that it's caused a change in you and allow yourself to experience a transformation as the result. You're going through some kind of a change, but you're not even maybe realizing it. So understand that. Perhaps it's a part of this journeying. Let's take a look at something from your past that's impacting. Maybe it'll give us a little bit more clarity on, you know, the change that you're experiencing here, or what you're patiently waiting for. Queen of Cups. Okay, so this could be, again, you, or this could be another person in your life. Queen of Cups definitely makes me think like, I don't know, there's two elements there. No, they're both water, so probably a water sign. Queen of Cups. Definitely the wateriest. Queen of Cups is all about healing, the ability to listen, having unconditional love, being very sensitive and receptive, lots of empathy for other people. Can feel overwhelmed by emotions though, and maybe has a hard time having boundaries to protect herself from the emotions of other people and other people having too much of an effect on her. So this could be an aspect of yourself, maybe your feminine side, or this could be another, like a person, like an actual other person in your life from your past that's impacting your experiences this week. Well, very interesting. You guys probably saw that there too. I don't know what to do about that. I'm going to move these over. This is the energy of, this is like near future, earlier in the week. I think I'm going to take both of these just because I didn't know that there were two cards. So here's how I'm going to interpret this. You are experiencing the end of something, and it maybe wasn't your choice. And it might feel like, you know, things are kind of crumbling around you and not turning out the way that you expected them to. But you need to understand that it is actually the end of the cycle, and it was divine intervention. And you are supposed to take lessons from this, engage in this transformation, and change and step into a new cycle, learn the lessons from it. That's what that World card represents. Taking all of the lessons that you've learned and being ready to evolve and step into the next thing. Let's take a look at your internal influences. So, Seven of Swords. This is what you're doing and how it's impacting your experiences next week. You, I think, are smart. You're trying to act with cunning, and you're not like acting on impulse. You're really thinking through everything that you're doing and everything that you're saying. And that's impacting how you're experiencing things. You're not being entirely upfront with yourself or the people around you, because the Seven of Swords is about concealing, strategically concealing. And I don't know if this is impacting things in a good way or a bad way, but it's impacting things. Let's take a look at external influences. I'm going to put these back. External influences. So this is something outside of yourself that's impacting. Could be a person, could be the environment, could be a situation. That's too many cards. Okay, but that card fell out. That card fell out by itself, so. Okay. Your friends are definitely going to be helping you next week. You need to rely on your social circle, connect with your friends, have a good time, have a get together, have a party, have a kiki with your friends. Your friends are going to be helpful for you here, and they're going to cheer you up and put you in a good mood. Your friends are going to be supportive, and so keep that in mind for next week. A hope or a fear? I don't really know. I think that with the High Priestess, it's a little muddy whether that's a hope or a fear. I do think it's about your intuition. You're maybe questioning your intuition. You hope that your intuition is right about something, but you might also be afraid that it's wrong, or vice versa. So you might be a little out of touch with your intuition here, and heeding your intuition might be a little bit scary. Maybe you also had a dream. Perhaps you had a dream about something. And that's either giving you hope or making you afraid. I don't know. If you have clarifying questions, by the way, feel free to put them in the comments. I always answer them. So if you've got additional questions about what's going on here, let me know. The last card is the outcome card. So it's kind of like the energy of later in the week, the overarching energy, the big thing that you need to understand about next week. The Fool, another big energy card. it comes right after the World, coincidentally. I think things might start to feel like they're kind of wrapping up for you. Maybe you'll have some kind of an insight next week. You'll feel like you're ready to go on to the next thing. This is a quick progression from the World to the Fool, but apparently it's happening for you, and I'm happy for you. But towards the end of the week, it could be literal or it could be metaphorical, ready to start something new. So it could be like you actually get presented with some kind of a new opportunity, or it could just be like that feeling of like, you know what, I'm ready to go out into the unknown and explore and see what's out there, because that's definitely the energy of the Fool. Either way, it's the start of something new, and it comes right after the World, because when the cycle ends of the major arcana, it just begins again. So definitely journeying themes here for sure. Let me know in the comments if you have any clarifying questions, or if you just want to tell me what's going on in your life. I like to hear about it. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a new channel, and that really helps me out. I wish you the best for next week. I wish you the best in general. Stay tuned for the following reading. Thank you for spending some time with me today, and I hope I see you again in a future video.